he is. It throws me off. I got to be honest with you.
You know, I'm looking at this, and they've got Tyler Stevenson, who's actually a catcher for the Reds, and they expect him to be a pretty good offensive catcher. They've got him as the 11th best first baseman.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, what? Not in US. Other things. I saw him as 13 or 14. I mean, to me, the consensus number one's got to be Vlad, and he's actually available in our league.
Yeah, and that's one of those things, like you're saying, power bats. We've got Soto's available, Acuna Matata's available, who we may now wait based on him not being able to play until at least May.
Yeah, we have Freeman, we have Goldschmidt from first base, we have Abreu at first baseman. I mean, we have Muncy's available, so you got some big bats, big power guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of top players that are going to be available in that first and second round.
For Betts also available in our league.
What was that?
Mookie Betts, who could play second base or outfield, which is very interesting.
You know what? But you're not so much jumping on putting Betts at second base because there's a lot of talent in the outfield now.
No, I don't disagree.
Rather in the infield, the second baseman. You know, I know I used to wait until the very end of the draft, but now I want to grab one of those guys early because they're much better players now.
Well, as a guy that has Tatis and Turner, I could play Turner at second. I could play Tatis at short, or I could play Turner at short and put Tatis in the outfield. So I have a little bit of variety there with that. When Tatis actually gets back, hopefully.
Looking at at the first baseman, I think you're right. Vladdy is absolutely the number one guy. Freddie Freeman, I think he is absolutely the number two guy.
I agree with you.
I do believe that Matt Olson is going to be a stud this year. Then I would probably go Pete Alonso. As far as defense is concerned, not that great, but man, I think the guy could lead the league in home runs this year.
I think that it could be a real special year in Queens this year. I mean, my top five would be Guerrero 1, Freeman 2. I'm still going to put Goldschmidt as 3. Okay. I'm going to go with Alonso as 4 and Olsen as 5.
What I like about Goldschmidt is he's going to steal you like 10, maybe 15 bases too.
And he's going to hit for average as well. He'll be pretty solid all around. I had him last year. I didn't protect him only for one reason. Is that he was very, very streaky. So he had a very strong, like last month, that gave him a lot of his stats. But he still puts up the stats when the whole season's all said and done. I
got to tell you, though, one of the things you have to look out for with him, though, is he's got no protection in that lineup. That lineup is not strong.
No, it's going to be a weird year for St. Louis, even though they brought Pujols back.
Right. So we'll still see what happens. But by the way, I was watching Pujols come in from the bullpen. Boy, he looks fat.
Yeah, well, you know, when we turned 40, we didn't look good either.
Yeah, we were
50. We really don't look good. So there you go.
We weren't professional ball players though either, pal. But
no, very true. We weren't paid to exercise every day and hit a ball.
Right. First base, I would go number 5 for Goldschmidt. Number 6, Jose Abreu. I kind of like him there. They've got DJ LeMahieu in here as a first baseman.
I treat him as a second baseman personally.
I treat him as a second baseman as well. And he's way out there. I really like Yulieski Gurriel of the Astros. All that guy does is hit. He hits like 290, hits 22 home runs, drives in 85, 90 runs. I think I would make him like the 7th best first baseman.
Listen, it becomes a crapshoot when we get to a certain point, right?
Right.
I mean, so you go through those top 5 and really 6, because I put Abreu right there at 6. And you sit there and you look at Walsh, with the Angels. He's someone you could definitely like. But he grown simply because he's a Rocky.
Right.
And what he might be able to do in Colorado. Rizzo with the short porch with a full season. Does he catch a little fire? Votto came back last year.
Right.
And what are we going to get out of Schwindel? Is he going to be a player? He looked like he could be a player at the end of last year.
And I think somebody that you're missing that's pretty important, Brandon Belt. Very underappreciated.
I have him right there, right after I have Schwindel. Well, before Schwindel, actually.
Yeah, very underappreciated, very underrated. Guy hit like 25 home runs last year. Didn't hit a lot of, drive a lot of runs, and I think it was like in the 60s and stuff like that. But he's the man at first base over for San Francisco this year. So he's somebody you have to be up in there. So give me your bottom, your 6 through 10. What do you got?
Well, 6 through 10 for me. ended up being Abreu at 6, Hoskins at 7, Crone at 8, Rizzo at 9, Votto at 10.
Gotcha. I would go with
here's the
Abreu
thing,
at
though. Who are the couple of guys that you would say, hey, out of nowhere, this could be a guy that would be like someone you really like?
Well, we'll find out if Alex Kurloff is ready to go because he's there at first base.
I think Vaughn could be something, also too, that's able to play first base in Chicago.
Not that he's a sleeper pick, but people are not talking about him. Voigt's going to play every day. Voigt.
And the other guy I like a little bit is Carlos Santana, just because his career numbers. He had an off year last year. I do think he can bounce back.
Is he touring this year too? Is he playing Jones Beach?
He is playing. He's playing the beach. He's playing with John Mayer again. They're gonna knock it out.
But you know what? I think you really have to look out for Luke Voigt. He's not going to play a lot of first base, I don't think, but he's going to DH. He's going to be in the lineup every single day, and in that lineup, he could be very, very dangerous, man.
And another guy to look out for is Sano. I know he doesn't hit for average, but even in bad years, he hits 35 homers. If you need power, if you need someone that's going to get the ball out of the yard, you look at guys like Voigt, like you said. You look at guys like Trey Mancini. You look at guys like Sano. These guys can hit the ball out of the yard. Even Moustakas, who will play first and third this year, no longer eligible at second, is someone that can hit the ball out of the yard.
Now, somebody you keep an eye out later in the draft, if he's still available, especially if you're in a legacy league and you have keepers and stuff like that, I would consider Spencer Torkelson somewhere because
I like Torkelson. He's a guy that might be that late round sleeper for you.
But between you and me, he's one of those guys that one of the jackasses in our league jump on way too early.
Yeah, those Freed boys, they jump on all these guys, these young guys early. They kill us. I mean, they're good. They're always competitive, except for last year, but they kill us.
Let's move to second base, shall we?
Absolutely. Who is the best second baseman on your sheet?
I don't think it's any doubt about it. If he's the best guy in the league, fantasy-wise, he's got to be the best second baseman. That's Trey Turner.
Yeah, I am. It's hard to argue with Trey. You sit there and you look at him and you say you play second or short, but I think that Trey Turner is just he's a full package. He hit it for power, steals bases, hits for average, and he's going to be on an offense that's going to be very productive. For me, if I go through the rest of my top five, I like Albies. Mm-hmm. I think he's the guy that you really kind of have to like. I like Merrifield as 3. I didn't necessarily. I don't put Betts at second base, so that's why I don't have him sitting there. I go with Altuve, and I guess I go with Semien. Those would be my top 5.
Right. My only question with Semien is, show me again. He had obviously an unbelievable career year last year, and he got big money based on that career year. But before that, he never performed close to that. So for me, Semien would be a little bit lower, only for me, and that's why I probably don't win. Because to me, I want to see him do it again.
But, I understand. I certainly understand that.
But I would go with I'm very similar. Albies, Merrifield. I would go with Ketel Marte, by the way.
Very good out of Arizona. I agree.
Yeah, and then I'll hit Semien.
Semien, and then I have we have the Altuves and the Muncies right behind there, and guys that are really good. And Polanco in Minnesota has really become a hell of a player.
Always puts up good numbers. And you know what we didn't mention throughout there? DJ. DJ is a second baseman, bro.
No, he is. No doubt about it.
And I expect him to bounce back. Was it the sports hernia that kept his numbers down last year? I don't know. But DJ LeMahieu doesn't drop that quickly.
I agree. He's a hitter.
Yeah. And
then other guys I look at India. I mean, he coming off a really nice rookie year for India. Baez in Detroit's going to be interesting.
Right.
I think he's someone to really kind of look out for. And I think that Glaber is a guy that could really bounce back this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to have a big year. Something else you have to look out for, by the way, his numbers are kind of really tricky, but especially in this lineup and stuff, and he might be listed as your third baseman. I understand that. But look for Eduardo Escobar in that lineup. There's mashes in that lineup. He's going to be on base. He's going to be somebody to look out for. And also, I don't think he's appreciated as much as other people. He's one of my keepers, but that's because he was like a 22nd round pick last year. And Ty France, not only did he put up decent numbers last year, but he's got a lot of eligibility. So you can maneuver him around a lot.
And, his minor league career, because he was in the Padre organization, and I caught him a lot. Mm-hmm. He was like, he led the PCL in hitting like twice. I mean, he's hit everywhere he's been. He's going to continue to hit.
Right.
He can play first. He can play second. He can play third. They can put him in the outfield. He can do a lot of things.
A lot of things. I'm just kind of like looking at the list here.
I mean, you look at Jazz Chisholm, he could certainly
this is a family show. What are you talking about
exactly, but he can steal a base for you. Colton Wong is a guy that's always somewhat of an enigma, but when he's got it going, he hits the ball out of the yard. And McMahon just got a new contract over in Colorado, so that'll be interesting to see.
Here's somebody else that, people don't pick him, but they pick him late, towards the end of the draft, and he always puts up decent fantasy numbers. Shoop.
Yeah, he hits for power.
He's going to hit for power. Detroit's going to be a fun team to watch this year. He's somebody late in the draft. You don't have somebody you should consider.
And McNeil also a guy that you could look at that could play some second base. Jeff McNeil from the Mets, someone definitely to look for.
Let's take a peek at our the shortstop. Let's
go short.
Let's go to short. I just got to turn the page here. You know what? I don't want to list it there, but I'm going to go with I'm going to pick Bo Bichette first.
I think so too.
I'm going to go with Xander Bogaerts.
You might as well take him.
Yeah, Xander Bogaerts second. I will take Tim Anderson third. Tatis fourth, only because of how far back, he might not play until later in the season. And number 5 for me would be Corey Seager.
I'm very similar to you. I just have Juan DeFranco in my top 5.
I think Juan DeFranco has to show me something else. Now, he's in my next 5 for sure. I think Juan DeFranco should be at 6 or 7, but that's the only reason why I don't have him in my top 5.
I have Wander at 5, and I have Trevor Story at 6.
Okay.
And then then I go Seager at 7. And a lot of people don't like him as much as we do, actually.
Right.
Which I find kind of funny. I think he's a great offensive player.
He's an injury risk. That's the problem. He's very brittle.
No doubt about it. Carlos Correa is definitely a guy to look at. I mean, I don't think his numbers will be as good in Minnesota as they were in Houston, but he's still a very good offensive player.
Somebody to look out for that's very, very tricky, and especially now that he's on the Brewer team, look out for Willie Adams later on in the draft. Everybody's going to go for the sexy picks, but Willie Adams is going to put some numbers up for you, especially if you went, for the first baseman or for the huge outfielder and stuff like that, and you left your middle infield or shortstop available. Willie Adams is somebody to pick up later in the draft if he's still available.
No, I agree with you on Adams. I think Adams, because he'll hit for pop.
Right.
The home runs on top of it. Chris Taylor also, because he can play so many positions, can really help you there as well.
And of course,
Crawford seems to have found himself a little bit.
We didn't mention Lindor. I think Lindor is going to have a big bounce back year. I think he had the typical crap where he signed a big contract. And by the way, Lindor is not worth that kind of money.
No, he's not. And the Mets have done very well over the years of getting American League middle infielders to come over and really underperform right away.
I'll tell you, Jed Lowry was fantastic for them.
I mean, I think back to Baerga. I think back to Alomar. They've really done a great job of taking American League middle infielders. They really have. They've exploded on the scene. It's amazing. Cronenworth in San Diego is definitely a guy to look out for also. And Mondesi in Kansas City can help you single-handedly win your stolen base category.
Single-handedly. Yeah, and again, this is a pretty loaded, position.
It used to not be, and now it's everything.
Jazz Chisholm, going to strike out a lot like everybody else.
Who can play outfield and infield, but he can steal some bases for you, hit with a little pop.
I agree with you with Cronenworth because he's got a lot of versatility. He can play many positions, so that's going to help you out. And, of course, Dansby Swanson kind of came into his own last year too.
Absolutely. And then you look at guys like Gavin Lux, right, who can play second, he can play short, play some outfield. I mean, they've been waiting for him to arrive. Is this the year?
I don't know.
It's a question that, you're always dealing with this team. You don't know when with this player, I should say, you just don't know when